Today we preview the opening series against the Miami Marlins with the voice of Marlins Radio, Jack McMullen. You're listening to the Bucko Banter podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101, shit, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plates, and in case after case, run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Welcome back, fellas. We've got baseball in the air. We're going to preview a series that actually counts and matters. And we're joined by the voice of the Marlins and our boss at Just Baseball, Mr. Jack McMullen. I love calling you that. Jack, welcome back on, man.
Hate that word. Hate the word boss. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good, man. It's good to see you so close to the season. We were just chatting it up a little bit off air, but real quick, how are we feeling going into opening weekend as the radio broadcaster?
Yeah, so far so good. I was expecting to chat about the Indianapolis rotation. It was like, hey, you know what? You've got Bubba and Harrington and Burrows and Ashcraft and all that, and then it's like, oh wait, hold on, different organization. Let's go. But it's been amazing. I will say, like, I just spent the last month in Jupiter at spring training, and we did all 30 spring training games, and it has just been a joy to get to know this organization, and it's pretty funny to open with the Pirates. I'll be honest.
How many nights have you spent at Utiki in Jupiter?
0. I don't know what that place is. I spent a lot of dollars at Chipotle, I will say, if that's comparable.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Well, we've got a fun series coming up. We've got the Marlins and Pirates in Miami. Your first big league series calling on the radio. So that's really exciting. Congrats, man. Again, we're really excited for you. We're excited to listen. But we got a big first game. Sandy Alcantara and Paul Skeens. That game might last an hour.
I know it is. I think without a doubt the pitching matchup in Major League Baseball on opening day. Like I'm thinking about Skubal and not Yamamoto, Skubal and Snell, right? Because Snell kind of gets this domestic opening day. And there are a couple other interesting ones. I think Michael King faces somebody decent like Hunter Green, Logan Webb, but nothing comes close to Skeens, the National League Rookie of the Year from a year ago, and then the unanimous Cy Young Award winner in 2022. And I will say, I'm sure a lot of people were worried. It's like, oh, is Sandy going to have diminished stuff when he comes back from Tommy John? The answer is a firm no. He looked amazing this spring.
No earned runs, right?
No earned runs.
Is the arsenal still the same? I got here, sinker, change, four-seam, slider, curve. Is he still using the same package that he was back in 2022, or has anything changed since Tommy John?
It's kind of the same package, and I think it's just a refined package. Like you take a look at the sinker, and the sinker was up to, he was sitting 98.8, 98.9 at points in spring training. And it was really just kind of like a touch and feel thing for him all spring. And the thing is, like, his touch and feel where he's going to scrap 2 tools from the toolbox on any given start is still like 3 shutout innings, and he looks dominant. So I think this guy, when he unleashes the full arsenal, you're going to see that 2022 Sandy again.
Is there any holdup with his workload going into the season, coming off of Tommy John? Like, he's a guy that's known as a workhorse, one of the only ones left in baseball with how the game has evolved with pitching and minimizing innings and whatnot. Guys are throwing a lot harder, but he's a guy that always went deep into games. Do we expect to see that this year, or do you think they're going to maybe ramp him up a little bit more slowly at the beginning of the season?
No, I think you can go no holds barred on Sandy Alcantara, to be honest with you. I heard the manager of the Marlins, Clayton McCullough, say, there's no innings limit on Sandy whatsoever. So Sandy's going to be Sandy, and he's an anomaly. I think a lot of people want to say, hey, if you get to 170, 180 innings a year removed from Tommy John, that's like kind of unprecedented good. But there's no point in setting an arbitrary limit on Sandy Alcantara when this guy won a Cy Young because he threw 230 innings. If he wants to throw 200, he can throw 200. He takes immaculate care of his body. And honestly, I was just having this conversation last night. I really think Sandy and Skeens are cut from a different cloth when it comes to the way that they go about every single day. Like, every single moment that those guys spend in their waking lives is to be the best pitcher on the planet. And it's what makes the elite the elite.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to the arsenal real quick. We mentioned the sinker sitting at 98, just so our listeners could kind of get a better grasp of what they're expecting going into opening day. The changeup is also gross.
Yeah.
And he goes to it quite often. Do we expect to see that when hitters are down in counts, or is he using that pitch to get ground balls? How is he utilizing the change and the sinker in at bats?
So they like a sinker and a changeup in a vacuum. Like just think about the normal template for a sinker and the normal template for a changeup. They are pretty similar movement profiles.
Right.
So if you see a sinker changeup guy, chances are the strikeouts are not going to come in bunches. And for Sandy, like it's not like he's striking out 12, 13 hitters per 9 innings. Like he's striking out 8 or 9 hitters per 9, but he's getting a lot of weak contact on the ground early in counts. And I think it's the ability to kind of vary the level of imbalance from the hitter. Like he always has them on their heels or on their toes. And you're just not ready for 98. And the second you get ready for 98, he gives you a changeup at 92 that looks pretty similar. So I feel like that just kind of aids in the guessing game. So you can really see it in any count. It's not like he's got this put away pitch that you're going to see at all times. He's looking for that soft contact on the ground, 0-0 and 0-1. And if he does get to a 2-strike count, he can go to the changeup to put you away. He can also blow 100 by you. He could also snap off a slider.
Let's go to game 2, Jack. Connor Gillespie's slated to start, and I believe it's going to be against Mitch Keller. I don't know if the Pirates have given out their order just yet, but if we had to guess, it's going to be Skeens, Keller, Heaney, and Falter in these 4 games. Connor Gillespie was claimed off waivers from the Braves in January 2025. He's a little bit older. I think he's 27, 28. Tell us about him. Tell us about the arsenal. What can we expect from Gillespie?
Vert, a lot of vert on the fastball. He's like a 20-inch fastball type guy from a pretty low release. It's an outlier fastball, and it's one that made him a big leaguer with Cleveland last year. He made some appearances out of that Guardians bullpen, and I don't care what the numbers say. Anybody that made an appearance for the Cleveland Guardians last year in their bullpen was an elite pitcher, it seems. Right. But no, I mean, he really relies on that 4-seamer at the top of the zone, and he's a smaller guy that kind of throws like a smaller guy. He uses his leverage in his body and in his delivery exceptionally well. Like you can kind of see that tilt, and then he works down on the mound very well, and then all of a sudden that 20-inch fastball is coming out of his hands, and he's getting tons of swings underneath that heater. So when he's at his best, it's a lot of pop-ups and whiffs on the fastball. You can see some deep counts if guys like are starting to, kind of gear up for that heater and foul him off. And then he's got a couple of secondary offerings that he can go to. He likes the north-south thing, and the fastball obviously, kind of guides that.
Little firmer on the changeup, it seems like. It's like slight arm side fade, almost like a natural sink. So just kind of what you were just talking about, a lot more fly balls, it seems like, on the changeup than keeping it on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like you go from Sandy to Gillespie, and that's going to be ground ball city to a lot of pop-ups and flyouts too. And there's no, right way to do it. But I do appreciate the really different look from Gillespie. So yeah, I mean, that changeup, I'm sure, just kind of feeds into it too. Oh, you pick up changeup for a moment, and then all of a sudden it doesn't dive the way that you're expecting it to dive. And the fastball is obviously carrying more than you would expect it to carry. So he makes his living off of swings underneath pretty much all of his offerings.
Game 3, Jack, we've got Valiente Bayozo versus Andrew Heaney.
Yep.
Tell us about Bayozo. It seems like he has a deeper arsenal, 5 pitches here, 4-seam cutter, change, curve, and sweeper. It seems like he mixes it up a little bit. What can we expect from Bayozo in Game 3?
Bunch of different pitches that go a bunch of different ways at a bunch of different speeds. He is a pitcher at his core. It's not like he's going to blow it by you. He does have decent characteristics on the fastball. Like, he can get up to 18, 19 inches of vert from that below average release. So it's like he may get some swings and misses under that pitch, but for the most part, like he's going to get through 5 or 6 innings because he's keeping guys in the guessing game. Like nobody's figuring him out, and he's turning to any pitch whenever he wants. So he really is one of those guys that's going to deploy every single tool in the toolbox. And I try and get through 5 innings. And he was really good last year after the All-Star break. I think it was like a 3.5 ERA after the All-Star break. He was arguably Miami's best pitcher.
It's just going to be patience in the box with him, right?
Probably. In terms of like the way he likes to attack, I mean, he'll find the perimeter of the strike zone. So I do think that, you either have to A, guess right, or B, hope he leaves something over the heart of the plate. And frankly,
Right.
back half of last year, he just didn't do either of those much.
Yeah. Let's go to game 4. Speaking of leaving things middle over the plate, Max Meyer seems like last year when he struggled, things were up in the zone, not really moving around too much. More successful down in the zone, would you say, with that slider four seam?
Yeah, but this is also a different Max Meyer. Like, I think that it's been made very clear so far this spring that Max is kind of new and improved. He's got a sweepier slider to go along with that tight slider. Like, I saw a slider tagged pitch that is kind of a cutter at 93 miles an hour, but it's like that gyro slider, and then he sweeps one at 88, 89. He's an exceptionally talented arm,
Yeah.
and he manages to get a ton of velo behind his breaking pitches. So he's also got a sinker that he's working with. So it's four seam, sinker, sweeper, slider, changeup, and he's got a decent feel for all 5 of those right now. You're going to see the best version of Max Meyer that anybody's seen at the big league level.
I feel like Meyer, that slider was the bread and butter coming out of Minnesota in his draft year. So,
Yeah.
developing that sinker and the changeup with a different angle on the pitches will probably go a long way for him as a starter, going multiple times through an order. So I'm excited to see him throw.
Well, and how about just a different shape on that slider too? Like if it's so good, try something that's slightly different, and chances are that's going to be really good too. And the early returns are yes, and he allowed a solo homer to Cody Bellinger in the first inning today in the exhibition, but he then was on cruise control for 4 more innings. I mean, he's super duper talented. And I'm sure it was just a matter of like fine tuning the arsenal and finding the things that work. And it seems like he's found something that works. And I think he can be a really good pitcher this year.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to go into the offense as well, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Cal Quantrill because he was ranked in Peter's top 100 this year. So just put it out there. Cal Quantrill is the 5 guy. You're not going to see him this series, but I had to put it out there for the fans.
Yeah, it's 100 at the top of the zone, knuckleballer off of that at like 58, 59, and then he's got this 12-6 curve that like is like nothing you've ever seen before. He's arguably like the best pitcher in Major League Baseball.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
He's a freak. Let's get into the offense real quick. One guy I'm excited for is Xavier Edwards because last year he took 31 bags. Do we see potential to swipe potentially 40, 50 this year at the top of that order?
His goal is 60, and if he plays 150, 160 this year, why can't he swipe 60? Like,
right.
Not only was it 31, I think it was 31 and 35 attempts in 70 games. So he's high efficient, and he's also like, I think the thing that goes most underrated with Xavier Edwards, yeah, he hit well over 300 last year, and he's at his best when he's hitting 300. He walks a lot too. He's not like one of those guys that, hey, I get bad on ball every single time, but I'm chasing bad pitches. Like, he has great discipline within the strike zone and beyond the strike zone as well. So he's going to be a high batting average, high OBP guy. And if you're standing at first base all the time, you can swipe second base 60 times.
Absolutely. This team, Jack, it seems like is hit with the injury bug early on. I know we're talking about offense, but real quick, the couple pitchers that come to mind, like Edward Cabrera, is sidelined briefly. Ryan Weathers, I was watching the Stuff Plus this spring. I mean, his stuff looked disgusting. I'm really excited. I hope he comes back. That strained forearm scares me a little bit, but we'll see.
He's fine. MRI was clean. It's okay. Actually just, about a week and a half more of no throw, and then he'll ramp up. But, Weather's actually better prognosis than Jared Jones. I was worried about both those guys at the same time.
Offensively, though, Norby and Sanchez, pair of strained obliques. They're filling in for Norby at third base. We have Graham Pauley coming over from San Diego in that big trade last year. Who else are you looking forward to seeing in this lineup? Got Kyle Stowers, Griffin Conine, Arm's friend, Xavier Edwards, Matt Mervis. It's a new look lineup for Miami. Like who's a pick to click for you this year and someone that you're looking to break out for this team?
I mean, I have been shocked by how good Otto Lopez is.
Ooh.
Defensively, Otto is amazing. And we were talking to Connor Norby the other day, and Norby said he thinks Otto Lopez can win a Gold Glove this year. And obviously, it's like an uphill battle because Bryce Terang is playing second base in the National League, so you have no idea if he's going to take that or not. But Otto is absolutely one of the best defensive second basemen in Major League Baseball. And he was swinging it this spring, man. He hit like 317 or something, a couple of homers, both in the same game. If he taps into a little bit of pop, I think this guy can, be one of those people that people around the league will look at Miami and say, yeah, Xavier Edwards is really good at the top, but how about the guy in the 2-hole? Like, how about Otto Lopez? That's legit. So Otto's the one that jumps out. To be honest, I think you give Griffin Conine a lot of run. He can hit 25 homers in a Major League season. So I am excited to see that. And then change of scenery for Matt Mervis. I'm very excited for what Mervis can do after he was acquired from the Cubs for Vidal Brujan.
Is that where we're getting our slugging from, Mervis and Conine here?
I think so. Stowers as well. Jonah Bride can hit some homers as well. So there are options in the middle of that order. It does feel like, X, obviously his game, Xavier Edwards, his game is like not going to be, the long ball, and Otto for the most part, it's not going to be the long ball. But aside from that, really anybody in this lineup can put the ball out of the ballpark.
And then there's Davison De Los Santos waiting in the wings that hit 40 home runs in the minor leagues last year. So they've got some options coming. But no, Jack, this was a good preview for this series. Really appreciate you coming on. I hate to ask you for a prediction, but like any type of prediction for this series. It doesn't have to be like how it's going to end up. No, you don't have to give me a result. Just like any type of prediction, what we could see this series between the Marlins and the Pirates.
I'm doing like the Herbie on College Game Day thing where it's like, yeah, I'm opting out because we've got the game. I will give you my prediction, and it's that this opening day pitching matchup lives up to the hype. And the reason I say that is there are a lot of these like game of the year matchups that are billed, pretty much every year. Like I feel like there are 3 or 4 games that the baseball fan is going to circle and say, this is the one that I'm not missing a pitch of. And then it slightly disappoints. I really don't think Skeens and Sandy on opening day are going to disappoint, man. I think that could be a tone setter that we need for the 2025 MLB season.
Bunch of dogs. Jack, appreciate you jumping on. Before we let you go, we got to plug the Discord real quick. Just Baseball just came out with a Discord a couple weeks ago. The numbers are jumping on it. Every time I check, they're through the roof. Best baseball group chat in the world. Jack, how does everybody join this Discord?
So you join the Discord via the link that we tweet out all the freaking time. Also go to, hate to push you to another podcast, but the link within the Just Baseball Show's episode descriptions. It is in every single one. It's $5 if you're listening to this on opening day. It is $5 for the first month if you sign up today. After opening day, it goes up to $10 a month, but it's really just all you can eat baseball chat. So it's fun. And you've got a bunch of card giveaways in there. You kind of get advance notice on a lot of things editorially that are going out at Just Baseball. Aram was telling me he's doing the Rockies top prospects right now. The people in the Discord already have that list. So, I mean, you get advance notice. You almost like you're in on every Just Baseball secret. So if we have anything that's super pertinent, you will be the first to know.
Awesome. And we'll definitely put the link in the bio on YouTube here and wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, or wherever. Jack, appreciate you coming on. It won't be the last time, but good luck this season. We're rooting for you, not the Marlins, but for you specifically. So proud of you. Can't wait to hear what you do and follow your career.
You should root for the Marlins too. And I look forward to seeing you on the outfield concourse, PNC Park in June.
Seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates, or the steak by the plates. And